Hey, thanks for joining me today. You're listening to The Sit Down with Roman Gray. The majority of us are all trotting along our hamster wheels, feeding into the concept of what life in today's society is. I find it disheartening that so many people I meet and hear from have settled into this concept we have in America, this concept of life. We've allowed ourselves to think that killing ourselves over meaningless jobs and trying to have 1,500 side hustles is life. Now, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with a typical 9 to 5 or wanting multiple things on the side that bring in income. The problem is that too many of us have gotten stuck in that mindset, and it's taken us away from the bigger picture. Cubicles scare the living hell out of me. I actually become anxious just thinking about it. Our lives are not meant to be used for someone else's gain. It seems like people have forgotten where we come from as a species, what got us here. We're not employees, expenses that are looked at to be minimized. We're explorers, creators. We're artists and poets, travelers and philosophers, and so much more, a whole lot more. I keep thinking back to that because it's scary, the fact that so many people don't see that. It's like in a way we've forgotten our roots. We're not destined to be confined in offices with artificial light, or think that having a shitty job with annoying coworkers, an extremely distasteful boss, and an overall unsatisfactory work experience is just a part of life. We're a nation of innovators. So it makes sense that people become sad and depressed from working the same job for who knows how long. They're not doing anything fulfilling. They aren't involved in things that are exciting, interesting, new, maybe even helpful. We crave purpose. That tends to be why we do what we do. We try to find and do things that ring true for us. And when we don't have anything or feel like we can't find it, it leads us to some dark and scary places. So you're not crazy if you've ever thought or felt this type of way, or anything similar. Now, you might be thinking these are just pretty words that don't mean much. I beg to differ. Time and time again, we all hear stories of people desperately wanting, craving reconnection with something bigger, something more, something greater. Did you really think that we're meant to be cashiers, accountants, or janitors? Now, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with those jobs at all. Not at all. However, I am saying that it's not our destiny nor our responsibility as a species. It sucks that it's become hard to have conversations like this with other people. The thought of these deeper questions scare too many people away. It's so annoying when people I try to talk about these things. They tell me I think too much. No, I don't. You don't think enough. At least I don't think you think enough. Because I know you weren't like this once upon a time ago. I love it when I see an adult who is curious. It makes my heart smile. It tells me that inner child is still alive and well. Think about it. As kids, we were all curious about anything and everything, to the point where we'd become annoying because we had so many questions and were so interested in life itself. And that curiosity gets taken away or fades away as we come into adulthood. And that's really, really sad. So I implore you, if you're listening, to stay curious forever. It's that one little spark that keeps us connected to our younger selves. It's what allows us to tap into something more meaningful and wonderful. stay curious. If you do happen to feel these deeper things about life and feel bothered by them, then there's a beautiful quote I like to share by a poet named Rumi. He said, "These pains you feel are messengers. Listen to them." He's right. Don't run away from the pain. Something is causing you pain for a reason. Don't ignore it. It's when we lose our sense of meaning, when we begin looking elsewhere. We begin looking in all the wrong places, worrying about things that take away from ourselves. It's when we forget about our meaning that we begin to feel lost or stressed, and we turn to things like concerned about our looks, worried about judgment, chasing empty things, and more. Or even turn to destructive thoughts and behaviors in order to soothe our discontent and discomfort. Too many of us are bathed in uncertainty and feel a loss of control of our lives, and it's what causes us to feel stressed and lash out. It's vital that we reconnect with the true side of ourselves. As we grow up, we become detached from our younger selves. We get consumed by this overvalued adult world that we leave our younger selves in the dark. It begins to make sense why we feel so lost and stressed. There's no remembrance of the beauty of life or connection to our true nature. We're meant to wonder and wander, to explore and make discoveries, draw, painting, writing, making music, building things, even space travel, and so much more. We're also meant to feel trust, hope, and love. We feel lost because we're destined to feel fulfillment, and the culture we have doesn't do that. It doesn't embrace that. We've become disconnected. That's the real illness. I want to share one last quote from one of my favorite movies. It's like a nice little chocolate kiss to finish this piece of existentialism. The quote from a scene of the movie Interstellar goes like this: "We used to look up in the sky and wonder at our place in the stars. Now we just look down and worry about our place in the dirt."